All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is our very first podcast. So if anything looks crazy, stupid, please, comments are accepted because we take the abuse. But welcome to the podcast called The Three Amigos. We're going to meet once a month and we're going to chat about Business Central or NAV. We've been in this community way too long. I mean, I think our Rob has his hat on because his lack of hair is he doesn't want to expose it. I will certainly expose my lack of hair. And Kim's just sitting there laughing at the two of us anyway. But yeah, we've been doing this. I think we've known each other for 20 years plus or something like that. And so I'm Steve Chinsky. I work for a company called Accelerant, but we basically been in this community working for different partners and in the community ourselves and businesses implementing Business Central and NAV. I'm the director of the Dynamics practice here. And certainly we've been around long enough. You probably have seen us at shows, events, conferences, speaking. We've got lots of accolades, I think, between all of us here. But other than that, I think I'm going to pass it to my friend Kim. I'm going to go left to right on my screen. So, Kim, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and we'll go from there.
Hi, everybody. Kim Dallafeld coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas. Ditto what Steve said. We've been doing this a while. Uh, and the fun is to share what we've learned with others. And that's kind of why we're doing this. We get into some heated arguments sometimes about what we each think. And we're really all right, but that's okay. We just approach things a little differently, but that's going to be fun for the viewers. Um, yeah, I guess I'll pass it to Rob.
Hi, folks. I'm Rob Del Prado. You've seen me at the conferences with my hat. So anyway, as Steve said, I try to let people find me if they want me and avoid me if they don't. And as the other two said, we've been together for a long time. And Steve and I actually worked together in 2001. But Kim is actually our senior person here. She's been with the product, I think she said since 1998. So she's got some seniority on the product. But again, we all have a lot of experience. We like to share it. That's why we're speaking today on this podcast. And so we hope you all have some fun laughing at us and with us as we talk about the product that you know and love. And just a predecessor to the NAV and BC, we've all been around the old product Navision. So stay tuned and listen up.
Thanks, Rob. I feel, Kim, maybe one day we should come together on this podcast. And as Rob's wearing his beautiful white cowboy hat here, I think I'm going to wear my little tiny one that you would give to like a dog or something with a little strap. And maybe you'll find one that you can wear and we can all like, look, Rob, we're like you today. Maybe we should get masks or something, the Rob mask or something, and
That'd be fun.
um, but seriously, folks, I think what we're going to do on this one here, since it's our first one, is we're probably going to take some time to go around and talk a little bit about the community and stuff like that. And then I think we'll probably end our session talking about what's going on in our specific areas and stuff like that. So I'll begin. Um, Upcoming events. So we've got basically DynamicsCon Live. I'm sorry, DynamicsCon Live coming up in Scottsdale, Arizona towards the end of May. I think it's May 20th era, something like that, around the 20s. Sorry, I don't know the exact date, but I'm sure Kim is going to correct me in about 30 seconds. But we got
I have to look it up. I never remember.
It's May 22nd through the 24th. So
there you go. See, Rob had to correct me. So, but we're all there. Actually, all three of us are all there, and we're speaking, and we're actually talking about BC and NAV, and certainly we'll be around, and you can catch up with any one of us going. So if you're going, woohoo, and toot toot to you guys for going. It'll be a nice event. It's going to be very quaint, and I say that word because of the different events. They're all different sizes. So again, pick the size that's best for you, and pick the content that's best for you, and it does scale based on the events here. So DynamicsCon Live, we're probably looking at about the 500, around the 500 mark area of people, about I'll call it like that 60-40 split between partners, ISVs are 60% and 40% are user based. Certainly the education is going to span from the Business Central Nav side to the GP side to the power side. So you'll get all of a composition there of different products that you can go in and watch the sessions and certainly meet and network with everybody there. I'm going to pass it on. Let's see. I think, Kim, do you want to do the next one or you want Rob, you pick?
Well, go ahead. Oh, you want me to talk about that now? So Doug is also sponsoring the Texas meetup in Waco, Texas, and that's going to be Tuesday, June 27th. So it's a one-day event, but the night before, if you're driving in, and again, we wanted to pick someplace local in Texas. So it's about a 3-hour drive from Houston. It's about an hour and a half from Fort Worth, and maybe 2 hours from Dallas, again, depending on the time you leave. But if you get there Monday night, we're gonna have a social meet and greet. And then Tuesday it'll be a full day content. And again, the three amigos are going to be there presenting. We seem to be attached at the hip. If there's a conference, we're going. And by the way, that one is just for NAV BC, so, or Navision NAV and BC. So again, hope to see y'all at that one too, especially if you're from Texas.
Exactly. Steve, don't you have a local meetup happening as well?
Oh, that's right. I forgot. And I'll do that. And then you can do the big one. So we have a Doug event that's being sponsored also. It's called Dynamics User Group Northeast. It is basically July 18th. It is a one-day event. It's strictly come in that day. It's at the Microsoft office in Arlington, Virginia. It is a combination of two things. It is BC Nav, but it's also the power side. So they are doing a lot of power there. So think of it as two tracks going up side by side. And there'll be some ISV sponsors there, and there'll be other people speaking in between the different sessions. I think there's a total of, I think we had 8, if I remember correctly. There were like 8 meeting sessions, I think 50 minutes each or something like that, including lunch and I think a mini social at the end, possibly to end the day in Arlington at the Microsoft office. But it was a pop-up event. It was really quick, and I guess we're going to see what it's like because this is going to be new to the Doug community, altogether. I think both of ours are pretty, excuse me, are pretty new. So I don't have any counts. I mean, I don't even know who's attending or whatnot. I will be speaking at the Northeast one because it is a one-day in and out event. And yes, Rob, I am going down to Texas because Rob told me it's always bigger in Texas, so I got to come down and stuff like that and get my brisket and I'm gonna wear my little cowboy hat too. I'm gonna definitely find one.
Well, Steve, the other thing is, you said that's the Northeast regional meetup. So, I like how y'all are trying to get the same territory size. So you're going from Maine down to Virginia to meet what Texas can do. And we'll challenge you on who attends more, who has more attendees.
I took a ruler and I said, if I go from the top of Maine, like way above there when it hits Canada, all the way to Arlington, Virginia, and I drew a line all the way west out to say, we'll just cut through New York, Pennsylvania. We'll just take all those states. And we're like, hey, you know what? You can get there. Who cares? It fits into that whole thing. Can be just plump. It goes right into Texas. It's the same size. So
there you go.
Funny. Oh, and both of those events are free to attend, which is really cool for users. So that's something important. The event I'm going to talk about is not free to attend, but it's big, right? And that's Summit, which is going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina in October. You can register now. I think the registration goes up shortly if it didn't go up May 1st. There will be 120 plus sessions just on NavBC. There's a track for Power Platform, for CRM, for GP, and I'm not sure what else. Are they still doing a Solomon one?
F&O.
F&O. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I always forget F&O. Anyway, and there'll be tracks, sessions focused at manufacturing, at supply chain, finance, new to BC, migrating to BC. So just a lot of specialized areas. It is about 3.5 days. And right before that, for about 3 days, there is an academy. So if you want to dive deep into manufacturing or finance, supply chain, there's a lot of content
or
there.
service management.
Service management. Thank you. I couldn't remember all of them. There's a fixed asset one day, I think. Those are an additional cost, but they're really in-depth training. It's a hands-on people doing exercises and things like that. So there's a lot going on there that week, and I think it's one not to miss. Oh, I think last year we had just under 5,000, and I think we're on track to beat that for this year. So that's pretty exciting. And not only will the three amigos be there, but there's a lot of other amazing speakers that will
including
be there.
Microsoft.
Microsoft
Including
will be
Microsoft.
there, and Microsoft wants to have sessions where they hear what your struggles are or what you'd like to see in the product. So that should be exciting for users who want to really be able to ask Microsoft, why the heck is it doing this and not that? So,
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
Kim, the thing that I always like to tell folks too is, yeah, there's an entry fee to get into it, but once you're there, there are no additional charges to
um,
do like the conversations, the sidebars that you have with partners, other users, experienced implementers like ourselves and project managers. So again, you get for the value that you're paying, there is so much that you get out of it.
and I didn't even mention, Rob. I mean, it's so true what you said, but I didn't even mention the expo. There's a huge expo with ISVs and partners. If you're looking for some software to help you meet a need, I would be totally surprised if you couldn't find it in that expo.
yeah, I mean that expo alone is probably going to have, hundreds and hundreds of um ISVs and partners having a booth, including Microsoft's going to have a booth, don't forget. So I
Yes.
think, the biggest thing about that expo, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, is, if you're looking for somebody to chat about, a supply chain or manufacturing or just anything, that's out there, AP automation, any of the different apps that are in Business Central or add-ons, as we called them back in the Nav and Navision days, they're out there. I mean, if you're looking to chat with, a sales tax, ISV, if you're looking to chat with somebody who does, automated bill payments, outside bill payments, they're going to be there. If you're looking to chat with a
Warehouse
partner,
management.
yeah, warehouse, or even a partner, maybe there's a partner you just want to chat with just because, you're kind of curious, you heard their name or anything like that, and you might want to like lean over and say, can you help me out or something like that? I need help. And
Exactly.
They also do have, some of them are going to have individual sessions where they can actually demo their product. So you're going to get to see some live action stuff too. So it's definitely worth the price of admission.
yeah,
And those demo sessions don't conflict with educational type sessions, which I think is really good because that way you don't have to give up learning something about a topic to see it basically a demo.
yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be great. I mean, we've got that 120 plus, possibly even more, growing for Summit of educational sessions on everything. There's about 8 to 10 tracks of different subject matter. You've got somewhere between that 10-ish kind of number per track, and then then we've got our that's thing we did, and for those of you who have attended Summit, and Kim and Rob and I, we used to love this thing. We had these little fast chats where they're under 30 minutes, and you came by the medic booth, where you came by and had a little session with somebody, and they presented us what we call a short topic, a simple topic that can be done in less than 30 minutes. And I think we got 20 plus of those as well on top of the educational sessions, plus Microsoft sessions. We'll figure that out. But I mean, yeah, it's definitely worth the price of admission, Rob, as Rob mentioned, and it's the coolest thing. And as we keep growing and growing, getting back to what I call pre-COVID days, where we kind of tapped out at 10,000 attendees in a back in 2019. They do travel around this year, like Kim said, it's Charlotte this year, and I'm sure it'll be somewhere maybe Midwest West next year. It's just they've been on the East Coast for a while. Um,
Yeah,
so we'll see
Steve,
that.
you mentioned the medics. That's one thing that people don't understand. So let's take a moment to explain that. The medics are there to help you solve problems. You can come up with, "Hey, I'm trying to do this and I don't know how to do it," or "Do you think I need an app that is going to do this?" The medics are people like us who are out there trying to, again, help people solve problems. And if we can encourage you to use standard functionality over something, we're going to show you and hopefully save you some money on that. So keep in mind that the medic station is something that is worth stopping by if you have an issue.
Yeah.
Because we can
Yeah,
also direct you
it's
someplace.
you are literally there. You can get free technical help, right? That's part of the admission as well. So and users sharing. I think the biggest thing at Summit is all of that we've talked about is great, but it's the networking. It's the meeting people that are in attending the same sessions you are because they have the same jobs at their companies, and just having that person to pick up the phone and call or send an email going, I'm having this problem. Have you ever had it? That's huge for users that feel like they're kind of out there on their own. I do want to mention one other thing off the Summit topic, though. We have those national user group webinars every month, and little tidbits. They're free for people to attend. Um, we give an update on all of the things we've talked about here. And we typically have one or two educational topics that happen. And again, it's just a webinar, free to attend. So look for those on the Dynamics Communities website. It's different than Doug. It's Dynamic Communities. So there's two organizations helping get content out there to users. So I just wanted to bring that up because we're getting really good attendance on those national monthly meetings.
And that way, Kim, if they can't travel this year or they're not planning to travel, they can at least participate and be part of our community and see these people that are out there that they maybe met a year ago or at a previous conference. And Kim, you also mentioned the Dynamics communities sponsoring our national chapter meeting, but the other thing that's out there is that website where they can actually post questions and get answers.
Very true, very true. And the uptick on that has really grown. It used to be highly utilized pre-COVID. And COVID kind of put a wrench in everybody's processes, and we were no exception. So, but we're now seeing daily, multiple posts per day, multiple answers coming through, and that's really helpful for people to be able to ask a question and just maybe they don't want to call the partner, or they've called the partner and they're waiting for a call back and they need an answer. And a lot of times the discussion board will give you an answer faster.
Yeah, it's true.
Good point, Rob.
It's been a really great, it's been nice seeing post-COVID how we've kind of had to revamp everything, because pre-COVID was one world and now post-COVID is a completely different world. We used to have navug.com, and that kind of is going away because of old technology, and now it's called dynamicscommunities.com. And then, of course, you've got their forum. Doug has on dynamicsusergroup.com, they've got their forums going here that people can ask questions. So, I mean, between the both, there's definitely an uptick as to what's going on. And again, like you mentioned, Kim, I think both offer a way for users of Business Central Nav to kind of ask those questions and try to get an answer from those members that are joining it. I think both offer something. I mean, different ones have different processes. I mean, and hopefully over time, as maybe the national groups grow and grow, maybe we might see a way we can get on site, because right now it is 100% virtual. Maybe there might be somewhere down the road we can figure something out to be almost like a pop-up, like a one-day, the old Focus way we used to all meet for like 2 days at a hotel doing deep dives. I mean, so it may be a one-day kind of thing.
Also, Steve, don't forget Microsoft even has their community site where you can you do sign up. It's free, and you can post questions and get answers. Biggest problem you've got there is it's attended worldwide, where the other two are a little bit more North America focused.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll see a question and answer that was like, wait, what's that? That's not in my product. And it's probably not. It may just be, something for Europe, because there's how many country versions?
It's got to be up to like I want to say
A
130
lot.
plus by now. They just added a couple of more in the last release they announced, I think, at the Directions conference that the partners went to see 2023 Wave 1. They announced more countries. But
Yeah.
there's one other thing that you mentioned on the Microsoft community site. Since it is a worldwide, anybody can go in there and sign up and join and answer a question if they really wanted to on those discussion boards. Some of those questions can be technical or functional. They're not
Uh,
outlined at all, meaning they don't sit there and say, I'm a functional question, I'm a technical. You have to read into it. And potentially the answer you get back could come from a functional or technical person. I'm sure a functional person might not answer a technical question, but it does happen that a technical person answers a functional question, which might not be the answer you want. I've seen questions being answered over time from a
yes.
technical person that's, oh, go make an extension. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't need an extension when it's just a process, or maybe it's something in the system. Or yes, I hate using the word go find an app, especially in Business Central, go find an app. But I mean,
Well, Steve,
again,
the other thing is you don't even have to go out and register at Microsoft to submit some ideas, because you can drill right into your product and now suggest ideas that are out there, and then make requests for people to vote on it. Because again, Microsoft likes to promote the fact that they take user ideas, and they like to talk about what user ideas have been put into the new product. So again, you don't have to sign up anywhere else. You can do it right in through your product.
yeah.
Uh, the support option to go to Microsoft support site is also inside of BC. So yeah, I do think you still have to sign up, Rob,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's free. So, but yeah,
It,
those
it's free.
I have
It's
something
free.
on ideas we're going to talk about. I want somebody to vote for. So we'll get to that one at some point.
I have too many ideas out there, so it's like I don't know which one to tell them to vote for.
I'll pick one, and then we'll do one at a time.
So we're sitting here. We've been chatting for about 40 minutes, almost 40 minutes now, and kind of one thing that's come to my mind is kind of like saying, we speak a lot. The three of us all, we speak a lot, on and off. We see each other. We're on different phone calls and stuff like that. But how about if we go around the horn and, for the last couple of, several minutes here we've got, and let's just talk about, what's been a hot topic, for each of us, or something that we're working on that we want the, people watching this podcast, to really take in and whatever. And then, we can talk about, and we'll announce our next, figure out how we can do our next one. We'll tell them what to look out for and where to find the podcast and stuff.
Why don't we let the young lady go first?
Oh, good. Um, so, of course, the thing that I'm always working on is inventory to GL reconciliation. Surprise! Uh, I stretched it for my session at Dynamics Con, so you'll have to come see how I changed it around a little bit. Um, I'm also still trying to learn about the new things that were released in Wave 1 for 2023. And getting comfortable with those. I'm really excited about some of those tools. I can't wait for Microsoft to get those released. I know they're starting on it, and some customers are getting it, so I can call those my customers up and say, okay, have you seen this? This is what it does, and this is how you can, use the system even more. Um, that's kind of what I've been working on these days. What about you, Steve?
For me, it's been all about two things. One is I've got a new manufacturing customer who is in the metal industry, and it is just beyond fat. I went on site for 3 days, and boy, if you can go on site to your customers and kind of see how a manufacturing plant works, especially with metal, how they take metal scrappings, they melt it down. We're talking furnaces where you can get a tan, within 5 feet. You don't even have to be close to the sun, just be in the area and you get a tan. But basically to watch how all this metal and all of this aluminum item, the aluminum shavings get melted down and put into ingots or bars or plates, and then new items come out of it, and they basically are then sent off to different automotive or other industries that need aluminum, stuff to make their product. But it was so freaking fascinating, and how they're going to be using Business Central in the cloud to run their operations. It blew my mind. the other piece is exactly what you just said. Love the freaking analysis tool that they have out there. I'm not a Maybe I'm not a fan yet of AI. I mean, I get it. I see what it can do for us,
Yeah.
but because I'm not heavily into e-commerce, maybe, or, and I have to update a website or something like that, maybe it's just too much for maybe what I need to do right now. Maybe in the future it'll be there, more and more. But I mean, for now, I think for me, it's the analysis tools are making my head spin, as well as some of the other small things. But I agree with you. I mean, I can't wait for customers to see Wave 1, more and more as it comes out this month.
I do want to interject something here. So there's a uh, facility in Seguin, Texas, just east of San Antonio, and they take all kinds of scrap metal, melt it down, and they make rebar, they make rounds, they make, RCS. My husband was in forging, so they would take the bars that they make there, and then they heat it, they cut them, put them in a furnace that heats them to the plastic stage, and then you press them into shapes. That's what forging does. It's like, think of forging as like new age blacksmithing. So you don't have to pound something with a hammer like they did in the olden days to get a sword, right? Now you just hit it with this press that does it all at maybe 2 swipes. But so it is really interesting to see that whole process. You have to literally stand out of the way when they're making like 1/4 inch rebar. It's small because it's coming like 90 miles an hour down, because they start with a big thing and they roll it, and it gets smaller and smaller, so it picks up speed. It's crazy. It's crazy to
So
see.
adding on to that, Kim and Steve, I a couple of years ago, I got one of my very first, actually, they were my second client on Navision. And manufacturing was not part of the product back then. And
Right?
they had an add-on functionality called Job Manager. And they reached out to me a couple of years ago saying, hey, we need to upgrade. And I said, well, what version you on? And they were still on version 2.0. They they recently cut
Oh
over
my
to
gosh.
they recently cut over to the new BC with manufacturing, but it just shows you how tight the product was even back then. And with all the additional functionality that they've got now, they just love BC. But we're talking about where we're going and what we're looking for. And one of the things, I serve on the advisory board with these two folks, and we're constantly looking for users. We promote this as a user for the user program. And I spent 12 years. I left the world of partners for 12 years. So I got in with all the users. And as we were developing and learning the product, we suddenly got rated again by the partners. And we're now depleting the user group who presents. So if you're listening to this podcast as a user, we would love to help you co-present and get your feet wet as part of our community. We're always looking for users and their perspectives, because I can tell you that you provide a different insight into it. One of the reasons I left the partner community was I said, I want to dive into other areas. Well, y'all have jobs and you can't dive into other areas, but you can dive into your special area that you're responsible for, and you can provide the unique insight into it. So again, if you're a user and you're at least inclined to present for folks, we'll help you get started. So that's the first thing I'm looking at here, is helping the community, the user community, grow and be more responsive to others. So again, if you're listening, please
Let
reach
me
out to
just
one of
add
us.
to that. If you're interested and you're watching this, contact one of us, and maybe just come talk to us on one of our podcasts and see how you like being out there and just talking about things, right? Because that's really what it is. It's talking about something that you know and that you're interested in. So go ahead, Rob. I just
So the
had to
second
tack on
piece,
to that.
thank you very much. But the second piece is I'm surprised. I recently gave a speech to a bunch of security folks on controlling the users in Business Central, but it kind of fell into place with a couple of projects I'm currently working on. I'm amazed at how many people, and again, this is no different than what it's been forever. How many customers out there, when they're going live, put permissions and security behind the product? So they're going live and they've given everybody permission because it's a new product and they don't want them to get frustrated. But then we have to, at some point, tighten the screws and put in the permissions. And that frustrates the user because suddenly they were able to do something. And now we're like, oh, I don't have permission to this. I don't have permission to that. These are things that should be done up front. And I have two projects right now I'm working on where, I'm trying to help them convert from standard Microsoft security permission sets to, what they really need. So again, when you're going live, security especially in today's environment is such a hot topic. So please keep that in mind if you're now implementing, consider security needs to be at the forefront.
That's a great point. And we all do it. We all push security off, and we need to change that, make that up front. Yep. I agree.
Yeah, I think it's a bad habit. We've all lived with it, and it's just that it never becomes that hot topic until it's like it's too late. Almost like the old too little, too late. It's at the very end, and you're live, or was I supposed to do that, and all the other humor that goes with it. But
Somebody's
I
been
agree with Rob.
changing this, and I don't know who it is. It's
Yeah.
really messing things up. It's like, oh,
Hey, it's always phase 2.
Yeah, there's always a phase 2.
yeah.
So let's recap a little bit here. I know we're almost at 50 minutes here on our podcast, and again, this is our first one. So I hope everybody's had a little humor to it, a little learning, and a little exposure to the Business Central community and what we do here, and all the events coming up. But we'll put this podcast on YouTube. We'll be putting it out there. It'll be under a YouTube channel called BC3 Amigos. BC space the number 3 Amigos, and we'll get that out. We'll put it on social media so everybody can get at it, and that's where we're going to place all of our podcasts, and maybe if we do anything else out there, we'll plop them in there. I think what we'll do, we'll go around the horn once. We'll start with Kim, and then basically if you just want to say your email address, that way if anybody wants to get a hold of anybody, I'll certainly put it on the channel as well. I'll leave everybody's email out there under the about, and I'll add it there, but I'll let Kim go first, then Rob, and then myself, and then we'll end it.
Okay, so mine is Kim, Kim, at Dallefeld. That's DALLEFELD.com. There's no I. It's not Delafield. It's just Dallefeld.com. Rob?
And I am R Del Prado at accelerant.com. That's RDELPRADO at ACCELERYNT.com.
And I'll end that with I'm basically mine's first initial S, Chinsky, CHINSKY, at accelerant.com, ACCELERYNT.com. That's the three of us. It's been an amazing first one. I cannot believe we've done this. It's a freaking miracle, that we've actually did this.
Adios, amigos.
Adios.
But thanks for everybody who's listening to this. Certainly come back next month. We'll put another one out there. We'll certainly post them on social media so to go watch them. Other than that, I'm going to say a big thank you. I'll pass it to Kim and anybody else who wants to say anything, and
yes,
we'll go from there.
Thanks to all. Next time we hope to have a more of an educational topic. We just wanted to this was our first one. We're not really sure what we're doing, but we're getting there. So come back next time.
Yep, same for me.
All right, three amigos, you have a great rest of your Thursday. This is Thursday, May 4th, 2023, our first ever podcast of the BC3 Amigos. And we'll all see you next month, and have a great rest of your day.
May the 4th be with you.
Adios.
Adios.
It's Star Wars Day.
Oh, that's true. Bye, guys.
Bye.